Hello future me and everybody else who likes to follow along. It's Lumi Vanderstorm, and in this week's episode I am going to show you everything that I did and learned in preparation of getting the wig to go with the outfit. First of all, I needed a place to work on my wig. Turns out wig tripods are like €60 and I do not want to spend that money on that. Especially if I have the skills to make something myself. I measure out and saw a little block of wood that will be big enough to hold the wig clamp. I cut a rod to length and then I attach it to the piece of wood. And now I have an accessory that will allow me to put my wigs on my camera stand. Now I can turn my wig around to my heart's content while I'm working on it without it catching on something. During this series of unfortunate events, I have been using a couple of tools, a variety of brushes and combs, hair ties, and heat tools such as straightening irons, a steamer, and a blow dryer. Now onto the wig. I start brushing it out first. I sectioned the wig off in two parts, one of them being the front side with the longer pieces of hair and one of them being the back side with the poofy, supposedly bouncy curly bit. The wig is obviously way too long in the back, so I cut off the excess length to make the styling process easier. Then I sectioned the hair. Before I use heat tools on the actual wig, I'm trying out the crimping iron on a piece of hair that I got off of the wig. Then I section off hair groups that I want to crimp. All those sections get crimped and brushed out. By now I'm already feeling the sweat drops roll down my back.
Wauw, ik moet deze straks even wassen, denk ik. 2 seconden.
I use my arms a lot for gaming and drawing on a daily basis, but using them for styling hours on end is not something I'm used to, and I will definitely be paying for this later. Alright, let's try it on and see how it sits on my head.
My god, it's soaking wet, bro.
And by that I meant soaking wet, so I grabbed a towel before I put on the wig. Oh look, guest appearance. I wanted to try on the wig to see where I had to cut and what to adjust. And I think I had a pretty good grasp of it by the time I sat down again. One of the things that I had concluded by then is that I needed more volume, and I was going to achieve that by teasing the hair into oblivion. Helia knows why I started in the freaking middle of the wig though. It's something that I, in hindsight, will never understand, but at the time it seemed like a good idea. I did manage to include the bottom part of the wig as well though, and it ended up being a very big ball of hair. Very sturdy, very voluminous, not very bouncy. But it looked about the right shape, so I put the hair down over it to see what we were working with. I spent a lot of time reshaping the ball of hair into what I thought would be good for the understructure of the wig. That looks about the right shape. I spent a ton of time trying to get the bottom part that I hadn't properly teased yet, because I started in the middle, into the rest of the ball of hair to make it look more uniform. You were about to witness the first time ever I used got-to-be hairspray. Look at me reading the packaging. And there we go. Pretty sure that I did it wrong, but you know. I tried. I tried to set the hairspray with the heat of my hairdryer, like I learned in all the videos that I watched. Yep, that's solid. Can't quite put my finger on how to shape this right. Let's just give something a go. This shape, please. Alright, let's go for a heat shaping attempt. Now that it's heated, I can try and shape it. It's not keeping the shape well enough, so here's some hairspray, I guess. And some more. And more. And some more heat. Maybe that will keep the shape better. It's getting there, getting there. Here's some more hairspray. And some heat to set it. I decided to try a curler technique to get the proper shape into the hair's fibers. This is the first time that I am using a steamer. It was super intriguing because the color of the plastic actually changed in the places that it was getting hotter. So you could actually see where the plastic was being more malleable. I do gotta say that I struggled a lot learning this technique. It didn't come as easy as I thought it would be. Watching those YouTube videos from professionals doing these styling techniques just made it look so easy, and it wasn't, but I guess I was pretty happy with the result. So I release the upper layer of the hair to see how it falls over the bottom layer, comb it out to have a good look at the shape. This is the shape we want, and the hat's gonna press it down like this. I use my blow dryer to lay the roots of the wig flat. Remember, this shape. I steam the bottom of the hair and then I use a piece of leftover wood to keep the hair in place until it cools down again. It's not as effective as I would have liked, but we try this a couple of times. Maybe taking off some weight helps. No. How am I gonna make this dent happen? Let's try more steaming and then shaping the dent while steaming and letting it cool off again. That works pretty well. Alright, let's give her another go. It looks approximately like the shape that I wanted to have, but it is a little too long, it's not poofy enough, and it's not really bouncy enough. At this point, I'm actually very frustrated with the wig because it is not quite shaping up, but as I wanted it to be. To prevent rage quitting, I take a little break. I have to go over all of the makeup that I have to see if anything that I have can still be used. Turns out, most of it is actually still usable. Thank heck. Back to the matter at hand after a short break. I'm so sorry about the camera angle here. I'm trying to experiment and I have limited time to fix mess-ups. I'm pinning up the hair here to get to the teased part of the wig because I'm not happy with the shape. So hours and hours of work, yeah, we're just undoing that and combing it out. Though I quickly realized that this was actually a great idea because look at that volume. I took her outside to have a proper look at the color of the wig and at the bounciness. It's very bouncy. And here's what the bottom of this disaster looks like. What's left now is the front bangs and the top layer of the wig. I want to make sure that I do not mess it up.
Oh god.
Not mess up the wig in specific. I don't care about a burn or two. Straightening, crimping, and then brushing it out. Straightening it again gives the hair texture without too much of an edited look. It makes it easier to get your hair curled, like this. Before I start on the top layer though, I want to do something about the big bulk on the bottom. It is too long, so I want to trim some off with my trimmer. Unfortunately, doesn't work for shit, so I just go back to my trusty old scissors. I honestly quite enjoyed this process because look at that fluffy cloud, it's so nice. Time for the top layer for real now. Straightening, crimping, straightening again, and combing it out. I'll be doing that to every set of wefts in the top layer. And we want this shape. Alright, time for another fitting. That already looks a lot better than last time we checked. The top layer of the wig gets curler treatment. The shape will be set with the steamer. I'd say that looks pretty nice. Oh yeah, look at that shape. Okay, give it a little spray. Ah, pretty good, eh? The next day, I try on the wig in the morning. Earlier, I saw a picture of somebody that had a wig that was exactly the shape that I was originally aiming for. And after seeing that, I wasn't actually quite happy anymore with what I had done so far. The shape was just that little bit off. I wanted it to look a lot bouncier and not as stiff as it was looking now. Regardless, I moved on to the front layering and texturized them to be styled. I could not set aside the agitation of seeing someone that had successfully gotten the shape that I tried so hard to get, but apparently couldn't get right yet. It was making me a little nervous. Okay, let's see what length we have to cut the front pieces. Help. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be stopped or like paralyzed by fear though, so I guess YOLO. So I continued to cut off the front part, knowing full well that this could be a recipe for disaster. Thinning it out won't help. It won't help, stop. Just stop here. No, it's probably fine, right? It's fine, right? Maybe I can save it by including a longer piece into the front part. Alright, I really need some distraction. Let's leave that for now. Let's work on the back, then we don't see the problem at the front. I guess I really can't escape it though. Does that make it look better? No. After a short break, I came up with the idea to extend the front with extensions. Unfortunately, I do not have the same color as the wig, so it had to be a different color. None of the extension colors really fit the vibe though, so that was off the table rather quick. I gotta be honest, my morale was really low at this point. I saw a picture of somebody that actually nailed the shape that I wanted for my wig, and mine looked nothing like it. Cutting the front of the wig too short was really the nail in the coffin, so I decided to take a little break and chat with my friends on Discord. I laid out the 3 options that I had. Going with the wig as is, get back the length in the front of the wig by putting extensions in there, or buying a new wig and start the whole process over again. After all, by now I had a pretty good grasp of what I could have done different. It would obviously be a dent in my budget, but my bestie convinced me that if I didn't buy the new wig and started over again, I would probably not be happy with the result anyway. The same wig was still available, so I bought the new wig. I also decided to get a more trustworthy crimping iron if I was gonna get a new wig, so that I wouldn't burn the shit out of this one, and my hands for that matter. With a little bit of morale restored, I actually decided to grab the test wig that I was originally planning on using to get a grasp of the techniques, etc. that I would need to get the wig in the proper shape. I'm pretty much noob at this after all, so I don't really understand anymore why I decided that I could skip the test wig stage. But before I mess up my expensive replacement, we're gonna do the test wig phase. And there she is! Right away I noticed that it wasn't in the great state that I remembered it to be. I was miffed, but it didn't matter for more experimenting.
Okay, whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
So I start this adventure all over again, first brushing the hair.
Why is this wig so fucked up? Oh my god.
Ignoring how fucked up the wig is. Doing a new and improved sectioning, making the styling of the wig a lot easier. Getting the front part of the hair out of the way for easier cutting of the back. Then another round of sectioning of hairs into different groups for styling. For every weft, I lay down the roots with a blow dryer. Then I texturize the hair.
Ow, what the fuck?
In all the 22 hours that I have already worked on a wig so far with heat tools, I have not yet learned that the hair becomes hot after you use heat tools on them.
This wig's so fucked up.
Sure, but that mistake was all you. Then, in one sitting, I texturized the whole back of the wig. It took me about 2 hours to do this. The day after, I made sure to texture the rest of the wig. First, the rest of the short piece. Hell yeah, that looks really good. Gotta pin the hair out of the way to get to the front.
Nuh-uh.
So close. I guess we're gonna have to try 2 hairbands. Ah, so poofy! Including the time that I spent yesterday, it took me 3 hours total to texturize the wig. Now everything is prepped and ready for styling. Well, almost. We first gotta section the whole thing off again. Weft by weft I cut and curl. It was so incredibly satisfying to see the wig come to life layer by layer and take the shape that I originally intended for it. It was a lot bouncier, a lot freer, a lot more spontaneous feeling than the stiff son of a bitch that I made last time. My workspace looked like one of a hairdresser, and I really felt like a hairdresser at that moment. This method felt so much more natural than the previous one, but naturally I couldn't have done it without living and learning, you know, failing in the first attempt. This entire part I was just in Discord with my friends, chatting about everything and nothing. I really didn't need that much focus to do the styling in this way. Regardless, I absolutely did get distracted at some point. I mean, how could I not? All in all, it took me 22 hours to do the experimenting on the first wig and learning a lot, but the second wig took me in total only 8 hours. Now, the big question is, what is the big reveal? How is the third wig going to be shaped? Is that going to be the final wig? Am I going to be happy with it? I don't know yet. I don't have it yet. But I was very happy with the last wig attempt that I did.
Hell yeah.
Is there things that I would be doing different next time? Yes. Again, yes. It will probably always be yes. At this point though, I'm pretty confident that the third wig is going to be the final one and that I'll manage to be happy with the end result of that. So does that mean that there is going to be more wig content next week?
No.
Next week I will be working on the head. When I will be doing the third and final wig, it remains to be seen, because I don't know when it will be arriving yet. But at least now I know, then I will be able to style it in approximately 8 hours. Thank you so much for watching this video and coming along on this adventure. I decided to move back my release day to Sunday though, so I'll see you next week on Sunday. Bye bye!